And welcome everybody, Aesop Grim here, and this is the intro video for our second Chronicle in Elite Dangerous. And this is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to be doing two Chronicles, but I'll explain that to you in a minute. Let's do the content briefing first. So Elite Dangerous, as rated by the ESRB, is T for teen, and they highlight drug references and fantasy violence. The summary says this is an online role-playing game in which players pilot a spaceship through a variety of missions around the Milky Way galaxy. Players can engage in mining, exploration, trade, and various combat missions. Some missions task players with destroying specific figures and/or ships for profit. Combat is depicted from a first-person perspective with spaceships shooting lasers, machine guns, and missiles at target ships. Combat is highlighted by gunfire and explosions. Players can trade several different items in space stations, including items labeled as narcotics. Okay, for those of you who don't know, when it says missions around the Milky Way galaxy, this game is a one-to-one depiction of the Milky Way galaxy, including the distances. If there's a system in the Milky Way that we know of, it is in this game, and it is in the correct spot in relation to all the other systems around it. So the game is enormous. I think the player base has only uncovered something like a tenth of the game space area, and this game's been around for nearly a decade. So that should give you a hint about just how far off into the deep you can go and how much exploration there is to do if you're interested in it. The game's very scientific based, as I understand it, and probably leans more towards that realistic science side of things more than fantasy. All right. That said, it's still a science fiction game because, of course, we're dealing with things like faster than light travel, spaceships in general, and colonized worlds outside of Earth. So, and we have alien life also. That's something we've not really discovered real world. So, it is a sci-fi based game. Okay, Common Sense Media. They have it rated age 13 plus, incredibly deep, flexible space adventure, tricky controls. Parents need to know that Elite Dangerous is a space-themed, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Players have the option to be traders, tour guides, and explorers, or pirates and criminals. If players want, violence can be avoided as they play the game. When it's engaged, players use missiles, lasers, and guns to destroy other ships or damage buildings. Although there's no gore shown, just explosions to mark the destruction of a target. There's some downloadable content to customize your ship, but it's not heavily promoted by the game. The same can be said about the existence of wine and narcotics, which can be acquired and sold in ports. The complexity of the game controls, especially on console, can be frustrating, especially because it requires multiple button inputs to perform one task. And in the "What is this game about" section, what's it about? Elite Dangerous is an MMORPG that provides players with the flexibility to determine what kind of experience they want to have in a truly open galaxy composed of 400 billion star systems. Players are initially given a spaceship and a small amount of money and have to decide how they want to shape their lives. This means they can choose a legal pathway to fame and riches like trading, mining, and tourism, or they can go into criminal endeavors such as black market sales, pilot hunting, and assassination. Players can also choose to engage in galactic intrigue with rival galactic factions, which unlock new missions and ranks for players, as well as access to permit-restricted star systems. How the future of the galaxy is shaped will depend on the actions of you and your fellow commanders. All right, that wraps it up for the game summary, the content summary. What I really want to do, what my actual goal is, guys, is I want to learn and document via video, which is what a lot of times these chronicles, I've talked about it before on my channel, the idea of documenting my experience as I learn a game appeals to me. And that's what, with Elite Dangerous, that's what this is about. I kind of feel like that's what all my chronicles are about, but I want to get the engineering down. I'm not a master at it. I've done a little bit of engineering, but I want to do all the engineering, and I want to make a video series about it that shows my journey from, call it not knowing much. I wouldn't say not knowing anything, because I do know a little bit, and I've done some, to knowing all the things when it comes to engineering. I want to document that journey. But that's not going to be in this chronicle, because I decided that the best way to do that was to actually restart my character, since I had already done some engineering with that character. That character was from my first chronicle, where I did what I'm about to do all over again, with the idea of coming back and doing the engineering in another chronicle. But what I did instead was I kind of learned about it off screen so that it wouldn't be such a cluster, you know what, in the recording aspect of it. But then I got away from the game and went and did other chronicles and other games for a real long time. And now, whenever I want to do this engineering chronicle that's going to come next, I would like to just simply start with the stuff that I had done on my other character, and I couldn't roll that back. So the best way to do that was to just start a new character. So this chronicle right here is what you see on screen there. Starting fresh in 2021, we're going to be following Hawk's gaming tutorials on going from a Sidewinder to a Krait Mark II. Now that Krait Mark II is my choice. Hawk's goes to a Python, and for really good reason. A Python is a terrific ship, but and it's probably the best all-rounder in the game, and it's got bigger cargo space than the Krait does, so it's a better miner. But I don't want to do mining. I actually want to do some combat. I like the shipborne fighter idea of the Krait. It just has always appealed to me. So that's what I'm going to go for, and I want to engineer the heck out of it. So this first game, though, is going to be going from the Sidewinder to the Krait. We're going to be doing some mining, some combat, and some exploration using Road to Riches. All of this is available in my first playthrough, but things are a little bit different now because combat has been buffed, and Hawks Gaming has a 2021 tutorial for it, so we're going to follow that. If I deviate from it, and I very well may, I mean, I'm already deviating in the fact that I'm getting a different ship in the end. But whenever I do deviate from it, then I'll let you know. Okay, so we will be using his guide as a guide, not as a ritual. It's going to be a guideline for us. And we'll get this chronicle knocked out. Sidewinder to Krait Mark II. I've made a new character. I named him Aesop Grimm. He doesn't look anything like me. This guy's actually pretty good looking in my opinion. But I played around with the settings that this character creation gives you the ability with. It does some things really well and does some other things not badly, but doesn't allow you a lot of fine adjustment in some ways, and in other areas it's really very good. So a little bit of a mixed bag in the character creation in my opinion, but it has the ability to make some very realistic looking characters. So anyway, I'll introduce you to Aesop when we get into the episode 1, and I think I've explained everything that I want to do, what my goals are. Oh yeah, so I mentioned Hawks Gaming. The other thing that I would recommend to you guys, though, is Drew Wager. Drew Wager. He's a Brit, and he's a science fiction author. His last name is spelled Wagar, and he is one of the official authors for the Elite Dangerous franchise. He has actually had a hand in crafting the lore that surrounds this game. And this lore, the history, it goes back all the way to really close to present day time, like IRL, like where we're at right now, 2020, 2021. the lore for this game begins right around our time period. And Drew has videos on his channel, a number of them, that will take you through all of this history. One set of videos is called it's something tour, Tour, maybe tour guide or something like that. It's got tour in the name, and it was done a few years ago. And they're longer videos because that's a live stream setting, so you have a lot of social interaction going on, but you probably get more information total out of those videos. But if you just want to bypass all the banter and the interaction and telling people to knock certain things off, or giving people the codes they need to get into the wing and things of that nature, the back and forth social interaction, if you want to avoid all that and just get the kind of the straight gritty, the nitty gritty on the history, then choose his latest videos. They were done in late 2020, early 2021. They have to do, you might have to fish around because he's got a few different history videos. One of them is like real world history, how Elite Dangerous got started as a video game. And he goes through all that stuff. He tells you how that, like IRL, how this game got started. But the one I'm talking about, it has the word lore in it, L-O-R-E, lore. And that's giving you the history of this sci-fi universe. And they're excellent. They're absolutely excellent. I encourage everybody to go check them out because it'll give you some surrounding context on what's going on in this game. This game does not hold your hand in a single solitary thing. I feel like it's a steep learning curve, but at the same time, it's very free, very open. You get to do what you want, and it's pretty neat. And people who like this game, they're coming back to it because they're getting ready for the release of Odyssey, which should be right around the corner. That's why I'm back into it. And we'll just see where it goes. The last thing I'll leave you with is that I have this starting fresh Chronicle planned, the one that we're doing right here. I have the next Chronicle after that that's going to be an engineering Chronicle. And those are all going to be like actual chronicles. They're recorded offline. There's no interaction with anybody else. But after that, this game, any future recordings after that next chronicle with engineering is probably going to be done in a live setting. I just think this game has a very supportive community and is almost made for people jumping into streams and sort of bonding together and enjoying each other's time and company and, helping each other. There's a very helpful community in Elite Dangerous, I think, because we want more pilots and we know that this game has a scary learning curve. So anyway, I just wanted to give that heads up that once we're done with the engineering chronicle after this one, I will probably be switching to a live style thing, and I may make playlists out of them, but they're not going to be the nice episodic 30-minute, cut, and it's not going to be nice and neat like that. They'll be streaming episodes, so it could be multiple hours and stuff like that. So anyway, I think I'll end it on that. We're coming up on 14 minutes. Again, I am Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by the channel, and I will see you in the next episode where this story begins. Thanks for visiting Aesop Grimm's Chronicles. If you've made it this far in the video, please consider rating, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. I hope to see you in the next episode, and until then, stay shiny.